Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome to the channel. Excoundrel here. I'm going to get my keyboard and have it on my lap for this one because we have a epic pen situation going on, which means I need to be able to quickly move between my my hotkeys, and I've got my iPad in front of me. Right, so Xin Zhao guide, Xin Zhao video, Xin Zhao thing, something to do with Xin Zhao. If you want to know how I build Xin Zhao, I will put you'll see a link. I'll put it up here somewhere. And that is a link to a breakdown of how I build Xin Zhao. I'm not going to do it again because it hasn't really changed. The only thing that has changed is that I build Black Cleaver rather than Divine Sunderer first. Mostly because I was testing out whether Divine Sunderer was a better item spike or Black Cleaver was a better item spike as a first item. Just think that Black Cleaver in general is better for Xin Zhao as a first item, Divine Sunderer second. Right, let's get into the game. You're going to see me using my, my magical epic pen to discuss some things because this is quite a long game. And I kind of want to go through a lot of the core moments of it. I am really loving Xin Zhao as a jungler right now. I think he's one of the safest junglers that you can pick. I think he's got a lot of positives. I think he does well into a lot of bad matchups. Like, for instance, Lee Sin is a really tough matchup for a lot of junglers right now. Wait, can I? I can't go back, can I? I really wanted to show you what happened with Fizz. I'm just going to say this right now, guys. If you are playing against the Riven, by the way, this Riven is a pro player, and I think like this guy's a pro player. Essentially, there's a lot of pro players in this game. If you are playing Riven, though, guys, or if you're playing against the Riven, she is arguably one of the best level 1 champions in the entire game for taking trades. And especially if you're a Fizz, probably one of the worst level 1 champions in the entire game for taking trades. You should not be trying to level 1 trade with a Riven. My Fizz died because for some reason, for some ungod-known reason, he took his honey fruit at 100% HP, which I just saw right there, which I hadn't seen when I was playing the game live. And he tried to trade with a Riven at level 1. Fizz does not trade with anyone at level 1, let alone with Riven, who is one of the best level 1 traders in the entire game. In fact, while I'm doing this blue buff, we could just watch him trying to go toe-to-toe with the Riven right here. Did a decent amount of damage there, but Fizz generally doesn't have a very strong item spike or a very strong level spike until level 3. Yeah, basically really strong. So I'm actually going to turn on Fog of War because that's the wrong Fog of War. Now you can't see me. Yeah, I want to make it so that you you kind of see it from my perspective. So I'm trying to hover around mid. The reason I'm trying to hover around mid is in my head I have seen that Fizz has no idea how to play this matchup, and I know that if I don't spend some time trying to babysit him, essentially, I'm going to be in a situation where this Riven can like kind of snowball. And I know that this Riven is a really good player, and so that's why I kind of made that decision. However, you can see here, jumping in, I'm going to try and find an opportunity. Can't quite do it. I mean, obviously you saw that the Karma went in for a root. I'm kind of trying to, you know, balance my time around a couple of things. When you're jungling, you know, there are a few things that you need to pay attention to when you're jungling. A lot of kind of the skill of jungling is understanding where to invest your resources. You can see Fizz here just dying under tower because he got level 5'd by a Riven, which is a little bit of a shame. I wasn't there to support him. But a lot of what you kind of need to understand as a jungler is like where to invest your resources. And there is a lot of difficult decisions that you've got to make as a jungler, realistically. And one of which is like your most important, as I said, your most important resource as a jungler is time. Where do you spend your time on the map? Are you a farming jungler? Are you just going to try and get as much gold as you can from the camps and not gank? And if you're going to gank, where are you going to gank? And in this game, I had a couple of decisions to make, right? I could babysit the Fizz to make sure that the Riven doesn't snowball. But at this point, the Riven is already 2 kills up. If I try and get in to that fight, I probably just die anyway, right? I probably don't win this very easily. You can see, that I mean, at the end of the day, he's doing a good job of just trying to buy some time here. And I think he's done a decent job of just kind of like trying to evade them under tower. But realistically, there's not much that I can, you know, I can do with when he's now being 0-2 down. The Riven can probably like 1v2 us to an extent. And you can see here, like, I even tried to take her out, but she essentially 2-shots me with how far she is ahead right now. So, like, for me, investing resources now on this Fizz is probably not ideal. Where I want to be spending my resources is probably very, you know, towards the bot lane with the Ezreal and the Karma. If I can get an Ezreal ahead versus a Riven, Ezreal can kite this Riven forever. And if Ezreal goes for an Iceborne Gauntlet, then Ezreal's going to be able to kite effectively against a Riven, a Graves, and a Rengar. So for me, at this game, Fizz is a lost cause, right? I can't do much to help him. He trolled the lane at level 1, and then he just consistently became a target because A, the Riven is obviously a very good player, but B, just in general, he didn't do very much. He didn't do much to help himself in lane and did not play the lane as safely as he should have done. So really, like, if I want to be winning this game, I've got to be looking to play around the Ezreal as much as possible. Now we're going to reset the Drake here because as soon as the Riven turns up with the Rengar, you know that it's a very difficult fight to take. So I'm actually going to avoid that dragon fight. I actually don't want to take this dragon fight right now because we're actually not strong. We're not strong at all. And you can see over in mid lane, we just had the Wukong get dived. And Fizz is now trying to go for like a 1v2. Now I jump onto the Rengar, he flashes. The Riven doesn't have flash though, so she's going to jump over the wall. Not much I can do. And at this point, you know, Graves has just soloed the Rift Herald. Again, we're just kind of losing on everywhere on the map. You've got to look into the context of this game. Both of our solo laners have not done very good jobs, and it hasn't been due to the only once for Fizz was it due to the influence of a jungler, which was obviously Rengar. Now Rengar doesn't have flash here, so it means that he's relatively easy to take down, and he kind of tried to pick off on a Karma, but you know ends up getting taken out relatively easily. With Rengar down, it's actually a relatively good time to think about going for the dragon. However, with the strength of the Riven, you know, you're in a situation where that's, you know, not easy to do. Now, you can see that this Fizz dies again, 1v1 to the Riven. I can't quite get on the Riven here. She thinks that she's going to go in for a trade. I don't have my ultimate, remember, but actually, you know, Xin Zhao, pretty strong at this stage in the game. She doesn't have flash, and Yuumi is now caught out of nowhere, and that's a double kill for Ezreal. So just an overextension, realistically, from the Riven. I also got my mark on the Caitlyn, which forced her to flash. These are all good resources to take away. And with the Riven down, like that's the strongest person on the enemy team. With the Riven dead, it's actually a good opportunity for us to go for the dragon, which does mean that we're going to get one of the 2 major objectives that spawned at 4 minutes into the game, which is a relatively good win for us given that we are so far behind at this point in time in terms of like global gold. Like we're 3,000 gold behind the enemy. Now, I can see that Rengar is posturing mid. Now, Graves has got the Rift Herald. I think he might have used it already. I'm not sure. But regardless, we've already lost first. We've already lost first tower of the game. You can see Riven up here. Trying to go in on the Ezreal and the Karma. Gets exhausted. Forced to flash. And actually, the time that we put into the Ezreal kind of working out. Unfortunately, Karma just gets 2-shot by the Riven, which is a bit of a shame. But there we go. So for me now, this is, you know, I'm mostly looking to just get as strong as possible. And you can see that the Wukong just about keeps himself alive, which is nice. He does go down to a smite from the Rengar, but I get another kill here. So, you know, I've now got Black Cleaver, and I've also now got Sheen. So I'm very close to getting that 2-item spike. And in terms of gold in the game, I have the second most gold in my entire team. Now, I can't trade against Graves. He's really strong. He's got 7,000 gold. He's got like 2,500 gold more than me. And I can't trade against Riven. So, you know, I've got to know when to choose my battles. In this case, he was waiting for me in the brush. Just immediately flush over the wall. There's no way that I want to get involved in that fight whatsoever. However, if we have a look over at that fight, he's getting caught out and does go down to the Wukong, which is quite nice because they're just giving away small little bits here and there. Now you can see Wukong goes in. I quite like this from Wukong. It's a really decent-ish ult from the Karma, but unfortunately we aren't able to commit. And what I'm loving from the Ezreal, if you have a look at our Ezreal, is that he's actually gone for Iceborne Gauntlet in this scenario. Good. It's actually a really nice Fizz ultimate here. The Yuumi actually does a really nice job in this scenario of just of getting the Riven out. Yuumi immediately jumps to the Caitlyn, which is going to get her away, but she does die. I think she dies to the ignite from the Wukong there. Oh no, what did she die to actually? How did she die to the Wukong when she was in Caitlyn? I don't know. I don't know what happened there. Someone ignited maybe, but Wukong got the kill, and he doesn't have ignite. So I don't know. I don't know what that was. Maybe it was delayed damage from the grasp. I don't know. Irrespective, Fizz is dead again. He's now 1, 5, and 2 with only Rabadon's death cap to his name. However, it's like okay first, first item spike. So Wukong's doing all right. He's got Black Cleaver. He's kind of supporting the Ezreal. The reason I'm going to go and kind of like keep an eye on the Graves, and you kind of watch this. It's a bit of an awkward little trade here. I know that I can't face the Graves right now. It's very difficult for me to do so. I also know I'm on the wrong side of the map for the Rift Herald, but Graves has got Hull Breaker, and if I let him even have 2 seconds here, you know, he's going to be essentially taking towers for free. So Graves is actually really strong. He's got the Bloodthirster, and I know that I could have very easily died in this scenario. Wukong tries to trade with him. I know that I can't catch up at this point. And actually, Wukong ends up dying to the Graves, which is really annoying for me, because I thought he was basically dead, but he gets a honey fruit and has the Bloodthirster, which is fine. He's coming back here to try and take me out. And I know that I can't take this fight, so I'm just going to run for it. In the meantime, we have Ezreal and Karma. Nice flash from the Riven. We have Ezreal and Karma just kind of holding the fort down on the other side of the map. If you can take down the Riven, kind of feel like, you know, we're in a good spot. And it's already forced out. Now, looking back over, what am I doing here? I'm going toe-to-toe with the Graves still. Just trying to dodge those end of the lines. That's the main thing. I'm trying to taunt him by, you know, making these backs happen, but he ends up knowing that he knows that he's got to get away in this scenario. I was just trying to hold that turret, because if I let that Graves push with the Hull Breaker on that side of the map, like, that's, you know, we lose an inhibitor maybe. That's why I had to go there, because no one else was. And so I had to kind of sit there just kind of hoping. Ezreal picks up another kill. Really nice from the Ezreal. He's kind of doing an insane job on this Ezreal. 3-0-3 right now. And killing off the Graves here just gives us another opportunity to pick up the dragon. They've gone for the Rift Herald, which is fine. They tried to, I mean, Karma picked that up. It was a bit of a dodgy smite from me. They tried to maybe jump over the wall and find the smite still there. Trying to go for an engage. Fizz really went for it with the flash. Not really sure that was the correct move, but there we go. Yuumi pops her ultimate. You know, when Yumi's popped her ultimate, you just kind of have to wait it out, try and avoid it at all costs, and then look for a re-engage afterwards. Fizz attempted to go for the re-engage. Didn't quite happen. And so now I'm just kind of like, for my role, I'm mostly looking to get that that Divine Sunderer online. And once that Divine Sunderer is online, you know, the next objective that we're going to be looking to fight over is going to be important. One thing to remember this game is that we are still behind, but we have the dragons. So there's always going to be a dragon win condition for us this game. So the Elder Dragon specifically is going to be really powerful if we can secure it. It's not the end. And also what's also important to note is by taking these dragons, it also means that the Elder Dragon is going to be less impactful should the enemy happen to get it. So taking dragons is always worth it in that regard, if you can, because it denies a win condition from an enemy team that's doing well. Again here, Fizz just taking so much damage from this Graves. Not much that we can really do about it, but I'm going to try and keep the guy alive, and just keeping myself knowing that when I've used my burst, I can't really do much more than that. I'm forced to flash here, and there's nothing that I can do. You know, I can't fight this Graves. He's so far ahead of me in gold. He's 12,000 gold to my 7,000 because he's just been taking towers and doing things like that. I've taken a bit of health back here. He's dived under tower, and I used my ultimate to make sure I didn't take the second half of the end of the line damage. He's tanking tower like crazy. I managed to mark him, dodge the end of the line where I can, and just about kill him. That's a guy who's like 5,000 gold ahead of me, but he did go for the tower dive, obviously. Unfortunately, whilst I was trying to defend that, the rest of my team died to the Yuumi Riven, which now has put us in an awkward spot because we don't have many towers left. The Baron is about to spawn, and a lot of our team are dead, and will only just be respawning. And Rengar's already up. He can pretty much solo the Baron with Yuumi, so we just have to be a little conscious that that's always going to be looming. So what I'm doing here is, I know I'm on the wrong side of the map for Baron, but I think it's important that we at least push waves to this tower. Like, we really need to start pushing waves in our side lane, especially because they've got a Hull Breaker Graves. Like, that is just going to be impossible for us to deal with eventually. So the side lane wave management this game, making it a little harder, or at least taking Graves a little longer to push those waves up, is going to be really important for us. You can see that they are waiting around, and Riven right there, just trying to get in. Ezreal's just about escapes, and you can see Graves. Look, Graves there. If I hadn't pushed that wave, Graves would probably be on our inhibitor tower at this point. Now, with Graves showing himself, we kind of just have to go for it. We kind of just have to go for the fight. Fizz is kind of holding him out, but obviously Fizz is not going to last very long versus the Graves. And taking out the Riven is the most impactful thing, and that's a really nice snipe from the Ezreal as well. This kind of gives us an opportunity to maybe go for the Baron, but unfortunately Wukong's had to move over to the side lane, and as you can see, Graves is now trying to go for the inhibitor tower. For us, I think this is now an opportunity for us to go and attempt to take the inhibitor tower if we can. We've got 15 seconds to do it. Okay, we're not going to do it. Could have been an option. I mean, the thing is, like, Yuumi Rengar is always a little bit scary. You can see that he's not even going to try and stop me from backing, or at least he didn't. Maybe he didn't know that was there. But we have to. We're always limited by what we can do because we have to be afraid of the Graves split pushing in the side lane. So you always just have to think about how to manage your waves and how to make it more difficult for the enemy. More difficult for the enemy to get onto that inhibitor tower. Like, that inhibitor tower will drop in a second if Graves is given any scope to just push that side lane in. So again, what you're seeing from me here, I'm just pushing that side lane in, you know, trying to get myself some space. I'm going for Death Dance, by the way. This is a really, really insane Death Dance game because we're against a Rengar, Riven, Caitlyn, and Graves. There is absolutely no AP. Going straight onto the Graves over the wall. That's given me a bit of time to try and go for this dragon. I'm trying and buy some time so that I don't have to like worry too much. But unfortunately, as you can see, our team fight's very split, and we're not exactly kind of focusing on the same thing. I'm going to end up dying here to the Riven. I'm trying my best to at least try and take that Infernal Dragon, but honestly, the team fight here from us was just really subpar. We essentially were split, and I don't know what's happened here to Wukong. I think he's going to end up dying to the Riven, surely. Wukong can get a lot of health back. He gets it. Okay, Wukong's health regen is actually insane. In the meantime, unfortunately, by natural causes, because we didn't manage our waves properly, we lose this bottom lane inhibitor tower, which is probably one of the worst inhibitor towers to lose when you're thinking about an Elder Dragon win condition. And we lose another tower in mid. So you can see the gold is now kind of very quickly going in favor of the enemy. And I think at this point, they're also heading towards Baron. You can basically see that the Graves has been soloing Baron the entire time, trying to force his team to do it. And we can't really respond because we're kind of backed into our bases. As you can see, I think we're aware that it's going on, but we just can't really stop it. And at this point, they do take the Baron for free. We maybe could have contested, but I think we were so busy trying to push waves back that it just wasn't really a good opportunity to do so. So yeah, essentially we're in a bit of a rough spot now, but it's not completely out the window. We've got a really strong Ezreal with an Iceborne Gauntlet into a full AD team. I finished my Death's Dance into a full AD team. You know, like, they don't have any AP threats, so that Death Dance is going to get insane value. And Iceborne Gauntlet is also a really, really nice item in this scenario too. Now, in the build-up to Elder Dragon, what we need to do here is try and push this bot lane wave out as much as physically possible. The worst case scenario for us is if this bot lane wave isn't pushed and they dance around the Elder Dragon and then let that bot lane wave push in naturally to take a free Nexus, you know. So I think, like, for us, we've just got to be attempting to manage that bot lane wave as much as possible and make it so that it's not going to prove a massive pain point around the Elder Dragon. Now, you can see there's a lot of people here, and Riven's kind of gone all in at this situation. I do have my ultimate, which I'm going to use to try and get myself out, but unfortunately, I was just locked up, and that was not a particularly intelligent engage from me, if I'm honest with you. That was definitely a very bad engage. But luckily, the Karma and the Ezreal combo is really, really good, and you can see that Ezreal's just untouched in the backline here. Wukong is getting tanky enough so that Ezreal can kind of get on these front lines and make these plays. And that's what I think is also really important, is bursting or getting rid of that Riven's Black Cleaver. Because that Riven that Riven GA is not going to be up by the time that the Elder Dragon comes through. And you can see here, Yuumi, I swear, Lost Chapter from Yuumi is on like a 20-second cooldown. Regardless, though, we end up losing the Inhibitor Tower. We could have lost the game here, especially with the Baron. So Inhibitor Tower is almost certainly not the worst case scenario. We could have lost way more than this. And again, I took a very bad engage that I probably shouldn't have done. I just thought that maybe we had the legs with the Ezreal, but not quite yet. I'm going towards Sterex, by the way, as my next item. Sterex is going to try and be my final item in this situation. Elder is almost certainly got to be where we win the game, because we now have two lanes pushing in against us. So we really only can rely on Elder Dragon being our win condition here. You can see that the Fizz getting locked into another 1v1 versus the Graves and almost dies. Very almost dies. I then get locked up by Riven, but she doesn't have GA now. And also, we have a really, really nice Karma ultimate here. You can see Caitlyn just in the back line. Graves is there trying to do his best. If we end up dying here, we end up losing the game. So you can see that I've basically tried to just dance away to the minions. I'm like surviving with a minuscule amount of HP, but unfortunately it's not enough. Luckily, the Ezreal just about has the legs at this point. And with the Fizz kind of coming back from a very rough engage, you can see we burnt a lot of GAs there. And Ezreal by himself is enough to buy enough time around this base defense. The worst thing is, though, that we've just lost me, and you can see what I've done here. I'm going to end up selling and buying a teleport. Luckily, they end up making, I don't know what they've done, but they made an absolutely terrible mistake, and it's basically allowed Ezreal to pick off a couple of kills. Ezreal's in like a ridiculously strong spot at this point, and you're going to see me in a moment. I'm going to buy teleport, I think. I'm going to, yeah, you can see, I sold my stone plate enchant, buy the ninja tabai back. I have to sell a long sword to get it, and then as you can see, I've not got enough gold yet. I've got 785. I have to wait for a few seconds to get teleport, and teleport. And now I'm going to teleport directly over to the Elder Dragon. Because we want to secure this objective, it's really important for us to secure this objective. You can see teleports coming in from the enemy. It's a rampage for Riven. You can see that the Graves is coming through, and this is a smite of steel right here. I have to smite this to make sure that we get it. If we don't smite that, we lose. And I think it's really clever from the Karma and the Ezreal to say, right, don't take this fight. This is where we peace out. We've got the Elder at this point. Elder plus 2 dragons. That's going to really boost our damage output in the next few fights. And you can see, you'll have to just watch the Ezreal's damage in these next few fights. He's going to have a really, really strong damage presence around these next few engages. And you can see Graves here just can't compete at this point. Ezreal jukes them out. Riven, I have her tagged. I smite her. And Ezreal managed to finish up the kill. Caitlyn just massively overextending. Yuumi now by herself with Rengar. They do use the Lost Chapter to buy themselves some time, but this is now Baron for us. And as long as we are protecting our side lane waves, which Fizz has been valiantly doing, and I'm sure when Wukong respawns, he will. We've got another smite situation here where we have to ensure that we're getting the smite on the Baron. Really, I think, you know, at this point, we can just zone the Rengar away, which you can see the Ezreal is basically going to do. Rengar just essentially felt like he had to get into the fight here. And you can see he's not going to get there. It's so close. It is close. And I managed to outsmite the Rengar in the pit. If Rengar got this Baron, we probably lost the game. So we had, like, a smite on Elder versus an extremely fed, I'm just going to put you in context, an extremely fed 19k gold Graves and an 18k gold Riven. And then we had a smite versus a Rengar who jumped into the pit, who is behind me in terms of gold and behind me in terms of levels. I think he's level, I don't know what level Rengar is. 14? Yeah, he must be level 14, right? So he was like 1 level down to me, but that's the difference of about like 40 true damage, I think. Or even like 20 true damage. But regardless, now with Baron and Elder, like you can just see the Ezreal's just kind of popping off. Just doing a huge amount of damage, and we have the perfect comp into a full AD comp. It's also a great example of why, you know, if you draft full AD comps like this, there are ways to play around them. And that was a really insane game, like insane game. So good. It felt so good to win because we were against pro players as well. Look at that, 69k damage hurt, 69. But like, look, Graves AD, Rengar AD, Riven AD, Caitlyn AD, and obviously the only AP threat was Yuumi, but her AP damage output is relatively limited. I mean, she did less damage than I mean, Rengar's damage was pathetic, but she did less damage than everybody in the game. Whereas we went Death Dance on Wukong, Death Dance on me. We went Ninja Tabai on everyone, I would hope. I don't know what the Fizz went for, but hopefully everyone went Ninja Tabai. And we went Iceborne Gauntlet, Guardian Angel on Ezreal. So he had loads of armor and also had the perfect kiting build for this game. And it just shows you, no matter how bad the game looks, even if you have this crazy split-pushing solo lane Graves like we did here, he had them, like, I think just before the win, he had the most gold in the game, all the way up until the end. But we were able to itemize correctly against them and also just play the game out quite smoothly. But there we go. Another really insane game of Xin. He's really strong, and I recommend that you guys play him in the jungle.